India number 1, Arjun Erigaisi, comes to the game against Hans Niemann. Arjun will be looking forward to beating Hans in the 7th round of the UzChess Cup. Arjun has had a pretty decent event. He was +1 but then slumped to a loss against Jan Nepomniachtchi, which was perhaps not the best result for Arjun. But now he has a chance to beat Hans and get back on the scorecard. He's on 3 points. The leader of the tournament is currently on 4 points, 1 point ahead of Arjun, and Hans also is on 3 points right now. He will be looking to beat Arjun as well. So this is the battle between two young ambitious players. Both of them, I believe, are born in 2003, so same age. And Arjun opens the game with pawn to d4. Hans Niemann plays his knight out to f6, and we have pawn to c4. The pawn comes up to e6 with the idea of pushing the pawn to d5, knight to f3, and now d5 played. We have the queen's gambit declined. Knight to c3 by Arjun brings his knight out, and Hans Niemann plays the Ragozin with bishop b4. Always exciting to see the Ragozin on the board. Leads to explosive positions, and Arjun immediately questions the bishop on b4. He takes on c3, b takes c3, taken. And now what will Hans play here is the question. He plays his pawn to c5, and you can see there's a lot of tension in the center. White has the bishop pair. Pawn takes pawn, taken. And now you can take back with the pawn or the knight. He takes with the pawn as the camera is somehow dislodged. Someone saves it. g3 here. Bishop to g2 is where you want to place that bishop. Hans castles. And now bishop comes out to g2. And this opening is very interesting because black gains space on the queen side with c4, and Arjun somehow has now stability, so he will be angling for the e4 breakthrough, but first wants to get rid of the knight. But the knight comes to defend its partner here, and maybe Arjun goes knight to e5. He's looking at the knight on d7. Both the players are out of their prep. Queen to a5, getting out of this pin and threatening the pawn on c3. And Arjun gives up the pawn. He castles here. If you take queen c3, there's knight takes, and you get into a bit of trouble here with bishop e7 and bishop b4. The dark squares become a bit weak, but Hans plays rook e8, and maybe better was knight e4 to jump in to attack this and this. And if you take on e4, de4 is a nice position here because of this pressure. But he goes rook e8, knight takes d7 by Arjun, a good move. He takes back, knight takes d7, and now white has the bishop pair. Maybe queen c2 is a good move. Yes, he plays it. So Arjun has gotten a very nice position out of the opening. 8-6. Okay, bishop f4 is kind of necessary. The knight will come to f6 to stop the pawn coming ahead to e4, but you can go for f3, e4. Yes, he plays his knight to f6, but now f3. Maybe it's not the easiest move to play because it does weaken the structure. The bishop closes down. He goes rook fb1, putting pressure down the b file. And one idea can be a4, rook b5, rook lift, knight jumps into e4. And are there some tactics that we are looking at? Rook b4, Look at this. Rook take, bishop takes, rook takes c4, rook takes f4, rook takes c8. Something like that could happen. And look at Hans. He makes this move, bishop f5, and brings it back and then plays it again. Well, the one thing is that you can't take the pawn just yet because of knight g3 attacking the queen. So queen b2, the best move, attacking the pawn on b7. And now if you play b6, then f3 is very strong. So he goes queen a6, the best move. But already Arjun is better. Now rook takes b7, there's knight takes c3. So a4 is the perfect move. Kind of gaining more space. If b6, there will be a5 coming up. Rook a d8 played. And now it's time to kick the knight away with f3. No, he goes rook b5. Small error because f3, knight f6, g4. And this could have been really interesting, position for white. But rook b5, g5. Hans starts to now push. If Arjun plays bishop e5, there's f6. So he goes back bishop c1. Slightly passive. What a fighting position by these two youngsters. Bishop to g6. And now pawn pushes forward to f3. You have to go back. Knight f6. And now e4 is very difficult to come. Every black piece is looking there. So g4 played. But all of a sudden, it seems like Hans Niemann is getting better. Rook e7, maybe doubling down here. e2 is a weakness. Arjun goes e3. And he has a nice structure here with a lot of fluidity. But now his rook on a1 needs to get into the game. Queen f2. Whoa, he swings the queen over. Maybe h4 is on his mind. He's going for the king. Queen c6. And let's go. Ajubai, h4 on the board. Now Hans Niemann plays pawn to b6. But maybe we can take and e4. He goes bishop d2. Maybe slightly slow there. But the rook can join in at some point. a6. Pushing the rook away. Rook b2. And now, how does Hans continue? Maybe bishop d3, knight h7, few possible moves. Queen d6 played by him to get the queen on this diagonal. And bishop f1. Arjun slowly clearing up the second rank. Rook e6. Both are building it up step by step. No hurry. Queen h2. Offering a queen trade. I think queen trade really helps white because it feels somehow that the white king is a bit loose. So queen e7. Hans says no queen trade. I might even sack on e3. Hg taken. Hg taken back. Do we want to play e4 and give up, try to win this pawn, pin this knight? He plays e4. Woohoo! Fireworks. D takes e4. Bishop takes g5 is a must. And remember, bishop takes c4 is also hanging. He takes on g5. E takes f3. And now queen h4. He brings his queen, pins the knight. And this pawn is a bit soft. Queen d6 played. And takes on c4. Pressurizing on this diagonal. Now the only move, knight h7, he finds it. What a move, because the rook was anyway under pressure. Like if you had played a move like rook e7, this is just hanging. So knight h7, bishop e6, Arjun wins an exchange. But the problem is the king is weak. He gets his rook to h2, but rook e4 now attacks the pawn on g4. Hans is playing incredible chess. He brings his rook to e4. He may have f5 on his mind. Bishop comes back to d2. Maybe it's time to push f5. No, he goes queen d7. Both players down to their last few minutes. But move 40 is near. We are on move 38. King f2. If rook check, king takes f3. White is winning. So he takes on g4. And now queen h6 Arjun plays. Whose king is weaker? This or this? 40 moves done. Both players will get 30 extra minutes. Now, Queen g3 check is a massive threat. You have to come back with the queen. There's no other way around it. He comes back, queen h3, attacks the rook. f5 maybe to defend the rook. And can we take queen f3 here? It's just dropping the rook. So can't do that. Rook h1, defending it and now preparing to take the pawn. Hans Niemann jumps with his knight, knight to f6. There's a check here, but the king comes up. There's no further improvement. So queen takes f3 taken by Arjun. And knight e4. By all means, this position can go in any direction. King e1. The rooks are coming in. But queen a3. Hans is coming from the other side. He has a knight, rook and a queen attacking. Arjun is surely under a lot of pressure. He goes queen h3. And he's telling Hans, now I have queen and rook coming. King f7. Hans moves his king up. Queen check. I mean, it's not a check. Queen a1 check now. Okay, king e2. A must move. Queen is attacked. Rook h7 is threatened. He gives a check, threatening to win the rook. King f3. What a game this is. What a beautiful game this is. Knight takes h1. Okay, you have to take rook h1. What else? You can't play rook h7 and give up your rook. There are two attackers here. Rook takes h1. Somehow material is even. Opposite colored bishops makes it even more exciting. Rook g1. And Arjun goes for check. Rook h7, sacrificing his rook. Bishop takes. Queen takes. And this is going to end in a draw, I believe. King e6. He goes king f6. Queen h6 check. If you go rook g6, queen f8 would be disaster for black. So king goes to f7. And now queen h7. Somehow Arjun has managed to get a perpetual here. I mean, what a game by these two youngsters. They simply created magic on the board. And now both of them seeing no way to get out of this perpetual, agree to a draw. You can look at the face of Hans and Arjun. Both of them wanted to win. Both have a nice smile on their face. The kind of smile that comes after an intense fight. And I believe Hans and Arjun have this ability in them to play fiery chess, and kudos to both of them. They really made us enjoy this game. With this draw, Arjun moves to 3.5, so does Hans, and the leaders are on 4.5 points. They need to win their two games at the end. 8th round will see the epic clash between Hans Niemann and Jan Nepomniachtchi, and we will keep an eye on this tournament. I also love how Arjun and Hans are analyzing together, and that just shows that they both respect each other as players, and I think it's an incredible fight that they have had, and hope to see more such clashes in the days to come between these two youngsters.